Welcome to Local SEO in 10. This is your go-to podcast for answers about how you can grow your local business online easily and quickly. Brought to you by local SEO experts, Magnified Media in Walnut Creek, California. In each 10-minute episode, our digital marketing expert, Adam Duran, answers your questions on how you can get more leads for your business fast. Remember, if you're not taking care of this part of your business right now, you can bet your competitors are. And now, here's our host with the questions, Jamie Duran, and our expert with the answers, Adam Duran.
All right, Adam.
Hey, Jamie. How's it going?
Oh, my gosh. What a crazy week.
Yes. Very crazy.
Yes. So based on the events of the last week, what's happening in your world?
Lots, as usual. Google changes stuff up on us all the time. And actually, today I wanted to talk to you about some of the changes that we see on the horizon.
Okay.
And how local businesses can kind of ride that wave. So how they can get in front of those changes. So that way, when Google does actually come out with an algorithm change, an update, then they're not stuck at the bottom of rankings. Because that's sometimes, if you're not listening to Google and their announcements, that's what happens. They put out basically a new version of Google, and it doesn't look any different. So, but what happens is in the SEO world, giant changes could have happened. And so we want to make sure that our clients and our local business clients especially can stay ahead of that curve. And so if you're listening to this podcast, of course, good on you. Good. This one that we'll go through today will help you stay in front of that curve and make sure that whenever there are any updates, that you're going to be pretty much okay. So, but it's Google, so ride the wave.
How often are these updates released?
Like mini ones are put out every 3 to 6 weeks, and major ones can make massive craziness happen. So when I say massive craziness, like you could be looking for a massage therapist, and instead of a page full of results about massage therapists who are nearby, you're getting chiropractors, or you're getting dental offices. It just suddenly, it's like Google just the Etch-a-Sketch gets shaked, and it'll take them a couple days to kind of fix that. But, it happens. But I think what I should let you know is the only reason that Google has these updates is because it's always trying to improve. It's trying to improve that algorithm, and that algorithm is always about giving really good results.
Well, let me stop you then. It would make sense then that Google would actually test these updates before releasing them. I'm sure that they have an entire testing team that's working on that before they actually release something.
If you've seen that movie, The Social Dilemma, you'll know that what you say should be happening and what actually happens, it's very different, because you have this algorithm that maybe one person in the whole company could follow, because it's turned into like a Frankenstein program, right? You have new people adding stuff, new groups of people adding stuff, and it just runs. It's an AI. It might be a rudimentary AI, but it's still an AI. And once you have that AI be self-learning, and you put updates on top of it, I wish it was, there was a guy, pulling the strings, but there isn't anymore, man. And that's for basically across the board for any of these big social platforms.
So basically their plan is, hey, I have an idea. I'm going to implement it and just see what happens.
Pretty much. Well, so they'll roll this out in sections of the world. So it'll be in Delaware only, and that's how they test stuff. But, when they do, stuff happens sometimes that they just, it's unanticipated. So kind of the point of this podcast is how you can improve your own ranking and make sure that you're listening and make sure that you're responding before these things happen. So I know it sounds weird right now, so let me get into it. Okay.
Ready.
All right. So first thing you want to do is there's something called Google Search Console. That is, you might have heard of Google Search Analytics. This is it's a separate program. It runs on the internet. You have to sign up for it, and you have to connect it to your website. with a code, basically. You have to verify with Google that you own it. On a platform like Wix, that can be a 2-minute process. Okay, but on a platform like WordPress, it can also be a 2-minute process. It's just a little more involved. In either case, you got to do it, because what Google Search Console does that's great is it collects a lot of information about your website, what pages are ranking, super important, and what pages are not ranking, also important. And, it has a very nice interface that shows that graph, that graph of how many people are clicking on your site, how many people have seen your site in the results. It has information like that that you really, really want to stay on top of.
All right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So once you have that set up and once it's going for a few months, you've done all the stuff that in our past episodes we've encouraged you to create articles like listicles, stuff like that. Local relevancy building articles. Once you do that, you want to go into Google Search Console. You want to there's a place, a part of that dashboard has your sitemap on there. You want to make sure that sitemap is updated every time you add new content. When you do that, then you're able to see which of your pages are bringing in the most traffic. That's really, really important. So once you find out, this page about whatever, top 10 solar companies in Northern California, it's outperforming my homepage. Ooh, that's an opportunity. What's that an opportunity for, Jamie?
Listicles.
Thank you. Listicle, no. Answer is, actually, that's an opportunity for even improving that page even more. So adding an FAQ to it. So basically what Google, by sending that traffic to that page, that specific page in your site, is saying, this is a valuable site, or this is a valuable page. So this is all about Google. Their for 2021, what they want to focus on is called EAT: expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So that's the EAT acronym. And when you find pages in your site that are outperforming all of the other ones, that's what you want to do. You want to add even more cool content to that page and to other pages around it, or similar pages to your site like that. I hope that makes sense. All right. Question.
Yeah. I guess you also want to make sure that it is set up for mobile as well, because there could be lots of trouble there too.
Sure.
That's separate
definitely
from your website for some reason.
Yeah, well, there's different search engines, but yes, definitely the mobile site has to be there. What we're focused on with Google Search Console right now is finding out which of your pages are really performing well. That will give you some great, now I know what pages I want to improve even more, because you're having a ton of traffic from those pages. And then at the other end of the spectrum, which of your pages aren't performing well. You can either, when you find those pages, you can go and take a look at them and see why they're not performing. Maybe they have spelling errors, they're just boring looking. So even just something as simple as adding spaces, splitting up the paragraphs, making it look and feel easier to read, that will help that page rise in the rankings.
That makes sense.
Google Search Console will give you a list of basically all of your pages and how they're performing, over the last 3 to 6 to 12 months. And that'll give you a blueprint for which of your pages are that EAT, that's showing that expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So you have to realize that those pages are what drive people to your site. And the more that come there, the better it is for your local ranking.
And then how do you know if it's performing, maybe against competition or any other how do you know if it's working, essentially?
Well, number one, phone calls, contacts, people are coming onto your site and then they're actually converting. That's the number one way. The number two way is in that Google Search Console, you can see which of the pages have been visited the most and which of them are doing the best. So I think you're asking about dwell time, how long they're actually on that page. You have to use Google Search Analytics for that. So if you want to, you can go deeper into this, but for a regular business owner, Google Search Console is the easiest way to learn this kind of stuff. And and it's the easiest way to access it. So if you're talking Google Analytics, the learning curve is a lot steeper. So I wouldn't recommend that for most local business owners.
Okay.
Yeah, I would stick with Google Search Console. It allows you to see where the thin content is, where your site's not getting a lot of interest in those articles. And, you can always take those off of your site if they're not performing, or you can improve them and see if you can goose their performance. There you go.
All right. That sounds good. That's it.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that Google Search Console, get this set up, get it attached. If you have a web designer, make sure that you're added as an owner on that. I know a lot of designers don't do that, but you want to make sure that you ask to be added as an owner, so that way you can check all of this information. You don't have to go through a third party.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that's good information for anyone that has a business, especially online business, and being able to apply this, and something to check for sure.
Well, for local businesses, this is super important, super, super important, just because like I said, it'll help improve your rankings. And when there is an algorithm update, you will have prepared for it, because you will have optimized the content that Google's already finding awesome, and the content that Google's going, and shrugging his shoulders at. You will have done the work to improve those as well, because that expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, that kind of stuff, it's never going to go away. So when you create that and add that to your site, boom, it'll help.
Beautiful.
There you go.
All right. Anything else, Adam?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. So if you do know a business owner, especially a local business that's really struggling right now, and oh my gosh, it's just an endless list of things but this is some really good information that they can use and apply in their business to help them, and help them grow their business and actually even stay in business. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
And so make sure to rank and review this site, especially on iTunes. If you leave a 5-star review, that helps the rankings of this site, or of this podcast. And then the more people can see it, because this works. Google is everywhere, so why not get the most out of it?
Yep. Thank you very much.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of Local SEO in 10 with Google local marketing expert Adam Duran. Join us each week for answers to your questions on how to best harness the power of the internet to grow your business. Speaking of questions, got some? Message us through our Facebook page, Local SEO in 10, and we'll be sure to give you your answer on an upcoming episode. This episode of Local SEO in 10 is brought to you by Magnified Media, the leading online marketing agency in Northern California, who invite you to grow your business by magnifying your online visibility and credibility. Visit them on the web at www.magnifiedmedia.com. Magnify your business, magnify your profits.